What's up, y'all? What's going on, man? Martin Luther King birthday. We observed this great man. I put up a post this morning and just basically shared my feelings on what I think racism looks like and how we can turn it on and off when we want to. So I feel like if we can turn racism off when we go to, live events, football games, comedy shows, why we can't turn it off all the time permanently? That was just my thought. But I put a post up this morning and it's been getting a lot of comments. So I want to come on here real quick and just, chop it up with y'all like I always do. And it seems like the consensus from what I'm getting, it's a little bit of it's a double standard. That it's okay that when women have to end up living with their family members, that is cool. But when a man does it, it's all these issues. He weak. Something ain't going on right with his life. It's just something negative in terms of, when a man has to go back and go home. I got you, Slim. We're going to do it. I'm going to probably start the pre-orders. If not tomorrow, probably Wednesday. If not Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. But no later than Thursday, I'm going to start pre-orders. I'm going to put out the information and I'm going to let everybody, start doing their thing with the ordering. But I wanted to come on here real quick because I saw a couple comments. I read a couple comments. I commented back to a few people and just wanted to, again, take the temperature of the room because I heard a lot of women saying that the man is supposed to be the head. He's supposed to provide. He's supposed to do all these things. And I just feel like in this day and age, we live in a society where that type of thinking is not, I'm not saying it's gone, but like with everything else, shit has evolved. Like, it's a lot of women out there that are the breadwinners of the household. And, men have to play their role in that household. I mean, I was one of those men. My ex-wife was the breadwinner of our household, but we had specific roles that we would play within that household, right? And so, she had the bills that she was going to pay. I had the bills that I was going to pay, and we did our thing, right? But then, once that relationship, that marriage went left and we had to get a divorce, I had to go somewhere. I didn't necessarily have the money to go buy my own place with circumstances that, was beyond my control. But it also told me a lot about myself and the person that I was with. And so I didn't get an opportunity to have the financial luxury to go get my own place, right? So I had to come back and move with my mom. And the only reason why, for me, it didn't really bother me because the whole 4 years I was in school, in college, this is where I was living. So it didn't really bother me to have to come back. But I remember a conversation that me and my mother had when I came back because, me and my ex, we had our differences. We had our situations where I had left my house and came back more than once, right? And I remember having a conversation with my mother, and I basically had to let her know that this was it. It wasn't no more coming back and leaving, coming back and leaving. This was it, And so she told me, she was like, I don't care that you got to come back. She was like, but don't leave and have to come back. She was like, when you leave, I want you to be able to leave knowing that you ain't got to come back and that you comfortable, you got enough money, you got a plan, whatever you decide to do. And not saying that when I leave, don't come back, meaning she wouldn't let me come back. But she was just basically saying, when you do leave, I want you to be ready when you leave. You know what I mean? And she didn't give me no time frame. She ain't say, whatever, because I feel like I help them, they help me. It works. I don't just sit on my ass. I work every day. I do my thing. So I've heard a lot of comments about, men being the breadwinner, they supposed to provide, adults not supposed to live with their parents and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, that's everybody's opinion. I'm not going to sit here and say anybody's opinion is wrong, because everybody has their own opinion about how they feel about that situation, right? But my thing is, it seems like it does get frowned upon, sadly, in our community, if a black man say that he's living with family. I'm like, why is that? Because I worked with a lot of different people from different ethnical backgrounds, and that's what they do every day. Like, I remember going to a coworker's house. I was dropping them off from work, but I had to use the bathroom. And I remember him saying, well, man, I'm going to change my clothes real quick, and then I'm going to run back out with you so we can go to the bar, hang out. I was like, all right, bet. So I remember going in his house, and I remember as soon as I hit the front door in his living room, it was motherfuckers everywhere. Like, I ain't trying to be funny. It was motherfuckers on the floor, on the couch. He said the bathroom upstairs, in the hallway. I walked upstairs. It was 4 bedrooms. Man, it was bunk beds in every room. I was like, what the fuck? And keep in mind, they was Filipino. And I asked him, I wasn't trying to be funny. I asked him, I said, how many of y'all up in this joint? He was like, as of last week, it's probably like 25. I was like, and all y'all pay rent? He was like, yep, everybody pitching in on the rent, the groceries, everything. I was like, what? I said, so what's your share of the rent and the groceries? He said, I think it's like $45, $50 a month. I was like, what? So in my mind, I'm like, they've been doing it and don't have no issues. They've been doing it and don't get looked at, frowned upon. But as black people, when we do it, we get frowned upon. I'm like, why is that? And what's up, man? Check your phone. I'm like, why is that? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, for me, that's the village aspect that we've always talked about, right? Each one teach one, being your brother's keeper, having your back. But in our society, black men get looked at a certain type of way if you meet him and he said, oh, I live with my family. Why is that? And I heard people say things like, he need to be more financially responsible. He need to be able to provide. If he living with his folks, he can't provide. I heard people say like, as an adult, you got to be out on your own, and you got to understand, what it is to be on your own. And keep in mind, I'm pretty sure if, there's probably some black men out there that's probably living at home with their parents because they want to, not because they have to. In my case, I wouldn't necessarily say I have to, but it was a necessity at the time because I didn't really have nowhere else to go, when I decided that I was going to move out of my ex-wife, out of our old house. And so, again, my mother was like, I'm not saying that I'm putting a time frame on you being here, but what I am saying is when you do decide to leave, make sure when you leave, you can leave and be comfortable when you leave, right? And so she never, gave me a time frame or, told me I had to do whatever. And I think that my man, Calvin, Boots, my man put up a post and he broke down the meme, I thought, eloquently the way it should have been broke down, because we asked about not necessarily the part of the man having to be at home with his family. The meme asked about the double standard of it being okay that a woman does it, and when a man does it, it's a problem, or it's some concerns, or it's some, some things there. So, Boots, I appreciate your comment for that, man, because that was kind of what I was looking for. But then a lot of other people broke down their opinions based off the circumstance and not necessarily the double standard, because the meme talked about both, but I really wanted to get the double standard part of why it seemed like it's okay that a woman can do it, be at home, live with her family, but when a man does it, he get looked at differently. You know what I'm saying? And so people talked about profession, talked about money, talked about all types of things. And I just feel like, like I said again, everybody's comment, everybody's opinion is valid to me. Regardless if I agree with it or not, it's still valid. Why? Because you basing it off some type of life experience that you've had, or a life experience of somebody that you know that has that type of experience. And so I think that I'm gonna probably dive into it a little bit more, because I know it's a little bit more complex, because everybody, even in the comments, has said that there's different reasons why the double standard exists, and then that it's different reasons for either a man or a woman having to have those situations where they got to go back home and live with their parents, because everybody's situation is different. It don't mean everybody fuck their money up. It don't mean everybody not financially responsible. It don't mean that it doesn't necessarily mean anything negative having to go back and live with your folks. But I feel like, because at the end of the day, if something happens to you, that's all we got is our family. And I feel like this shouldn't be, it shouldn't be a double standard with it, period. We all, if we all family, and we say we're gonna look out for one another, if one of our family members fall, then we gotta be there to help them to get back up, right? But I've noticed that in recent years in our society, in our black society, that when a man tells a woman that he's living at home with his folks, it's an issue. Prime example, I was at Jasper's one night. Me and this young lady was having a conversation. It went into, sports, a little bit of politics, and then it just went into life experience. And then I remember telling her that, I was going through a divorce. She told me she had, been through a divorce, and, we just kind of talking or whatever. We talked about dating. We just talking. We just two grown people at the bar, and we just talking. And I remember her telling me, she was like, based on her experience, she was like, she would never deal with a man that lived home with his family for her own reasons. I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And so we get to talking a little bit more. And then as, I guess the night was getting ready to break, she was like, well, I had a great conversation with you. I had a nice time talking with you. I wanted to see if it was okay if we exchanged numbers. And I told her, I don't think it's worth us exchanging numbers, because you've already voiced concerns about my living situation. She was like, your living situation? I was like, yeah, I live with my mother. She was like, oh, for real? I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, so, it is what it is. Guess what she said? She said, well, no, I mean, after talking to you, I understand your situation. I understand that you on your grind, you working. So she was like, I would give that a chance. I was like, don't double back now on what you said, because you said you would not ever deal with a man that was living with his folks. Don't double back on that. If that's not something that you want to do, you shouldn't. So don't double back on it now. So she was willing to give me her number or exchange numbers with me, because after listening to me, she understood I wasn't no broke nigga. She understood I wasn't no nigga, no lazy motherfucker. She understood that, the finance part wasn't, great, but it wasn't fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I was able to spend money at the bar by myself. I paid my own tab. I bought her a couple drinks. So it wasn't like I was just an old raggedy ass nigga. I just had a life experience that I had to go back home for a little while and get my shit together. And I've been doing that since I've been here. And I feel like it's coming to a point in time where, I might not be here much longer. But I feel like I never looked at it like, it was a issue. Because I remember one time I was in church. It was for a revival for New Year's. And I remember Pastor Jenkins saying that sometimes we gotta go backwards to go forwards. And I was just like, what the fuck? And then he said it again. He was like, sometimes in life, we gotta take a step back in order to take a better step forward. I was like, damn. And that's how I looked at my situation. Because I was in a townhome, with my ex-wife. Everything was good, paying bills, working, but the relationship didn't work, right? And so I had to step out of that relationship I had to go backwards to come home to my mother in order to now gradually take a positive and a better step forward. And I'm like, I'm cool with that. But I just felt like in the moment, you know, not wrestling with it, but it just made me feel like, damn, you know, I wonder where this is going to take me having to come back home. And when I sat there, and I think this was 2017, maybe. Either 2017 or 2018. I want to say it was 2017. I heard Pastor Jenkins say this, and it blew my mind because first of all, it blew my mind because it had been something I had been thinking about, not being able to have confirmation of why I was going through what I was going through. But then it gave me the revelation that and the confirmation that it's okay that I was going through what I was going through, and that I was going to get through it, and I was going to be able to, you know, take this step back, and even when I step forward, to go forward and be better than I was when I was in my last situation. You know what I'm saying? So, and I mean, I'm not going to lie to y'all, you know, the way it's kind of forming and shaping out, you know, when I do finally leave here, it's going to be better than it was when I was even married. So I just felt like in that moment, Pastor Jenkins was trying to line me up mentally, not to get me off tilt, you know what I'm saying, and not to go left, because as men, we are prideful in some things, and that, you know, if we don't have money, or we can't pay our bills, or we can't do certain things, we do get prideful at some, you know, at times, you know what I'm saying, child support, you know, other things, it do throw us off sometimes. But you know, you either get a great circle of men that I got. I mean, between my brother on down, all of my homies, I got plenty of associates that I consider friends, that I consider my man. You know, we all talk, and we all, I want to say, hold each other accountable to a certain degree, not to get so down on ourselves when we're not in the type of position that we think we want to be in. And then we start talking about lining ourselves up so we can get back to where we were and do it at a high level. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I thought for me, when I saw it, I knew we talked about it last year a little bit, but I don't think I had a chance to talk on it. So I wanted to come on here today and kind of talk on it a little bit. And so as soon as I saw the post, I said, as soon as I post this, it's going to be, man, I'm going to get comments on this, right? And so I went in my group, my admin group chat, and posted, you know, the new venture that I'm doing with a great clothing line. And I was like, you know, the pre-order's going to start this week, telling them a little bit of the information. They was like, all right, bet, we in, we got your back. But then Amechi, you know, was like, Kevin, we need to talk, you need to talk about this, because this post is lit. I said, I know. And I said, that's kind of why I posted it, because I knew it was going to end up being, you know, Jai lit. So she was like, bet. So I think that, you know, I'm planning something later on today. And so if I do get this thing sorted out, scheduling wise, I think I might, you know, talk about this a little bit more. But I wanted to come in here and just take the temperature of the room again and just figure out, you know, how everybody felt. And again, I took everybody's, you know, comment, you know, and kind of thought about it, and it was like, yeah, I see what people are saying, because some people are saying this based off how they was raised, or based off what they knew fathers or male figures should be in the household. I remember it was a video not too long ago of the older dude, and he was talking about how his wife ain't never pay for nothing. She ain't never go to work. They kids ain't never had to beg for nothing. He paid for everything. He did all of the bills. He did everything. And I mean, I remember when I don't know if I posted it or if somebody else posted it, but I remember it was another conversation, because some people felt like, you know, if we don't evolve every year, you know, what are we doing, right? And so I didn't think that his logic was off, or I didn't think that his logic was, you know, wrong. I just felt like we're in a new society now. We're in a new day and age where women and men are making just about the same amount of money now. And so it's no real reason why, if we gonna be together, man and woman, why we can't come up with different roles financially for us to provide for the house together. I don't see what's wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if that's still his thinking, that's fine. It's not wrong. It's not wrong thinking. But nowadays, you know, the man and the woman come together. Hey, this is what we gonna do. You pay this bill, I pay this bill. You pay this, I pay that. You pay this, I pay that. You take care of the cars. You do this, you do that. I bet. That's our verbal agreement. And we do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that if it's some men now still to this day feel like they want to pay, you know what I'm saying, all the bills. If you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not saying that that's wrong either. But I know there's a lot of people now that feel like, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it together. You know what I'm saying? If prime example for me, my wife, again, my ex-wife was the breadwinner. She made the most amount of money. But that doesn't say that I wasn't making money at all, because everybody on this live know that I get it in. And I got all types of, you know, skills with my hands that allows me to make money. You know what I'm saying? As an Aquarius man, I go out here and I let my hands, you know, make money. Now that I got this vehicle, I got this truck, I let this truck allow me to make even more money. So even back then, I didn't have this truck, but even back then I had my hands and I had my tools. So even when I went to work Monday through Friday, I still got 2 days left out of the week. So Saturday I did security. Sundays I did security. Sometimes Saturdays I had to go, you know, either rent a truck, borrow a truck, and go do moving jobs. Sometimes I would take, you know, trucks from my job at Pella. I would ask my supervisor, hey, can I borrow a truck this weekend? I got to move. They'd be like, all right, bet. I got gas for the truck. I ain't had to pay for that. I would charge the person accordingly. I would move their furniture, put them in their new house or whatever. I always was on my grind. And I'm still on my grind, right? So I just felt like, you know, in that moment, yeah, my ex was the breadwinner, but I brought money to the table as well, along with other things. Cleaning the house, fixing stuff up, mounting TVs, painting, you know, whatever it may have been. You know, taking care of the cars, that was a part of my roles and responsibilities. It got to a point where I even told my ex at one time, look, I can tell you getting overwhelmed with work. Don't worry about washing clothes and don't worry about cooking 3 days out of the week. I got that. So I took on what my roles were already and took more on just to lighten up her plate. So it ain't like, you know, men who are in a relationship with a woman don't mean that if she the breadwinner, he don't bring nothing to the table. It don't mean that. And it also don't mean that if the man is the breadwinner and the woman, you know, don't bring nothing to the table. I mean, she bringing support. She bringing other things to the table other than money, because every relationship ain't all about money, even though we need money to survive, to pay bills, to make sure the house is running, to make sure hot water's still on, you know, all these other things. But it's other shit that comes into play with the relationship in general. You know what I'm saying? And I see Cheryl and Calvin having a back and forth, and I can't really get into these comments yet. But all I'm saying is I just felt like it was definitely a conversation, because it's something that happens a lot. I hear women say it a lot, that they don't want to deal with a nigga that live at home with his parents. Okay. And then I even heard somebody say, I think it was Kim. Kim said that it's a difference between living with a parent. What'd she say? It's a difference between living with a parent. Damn, I can't remember what you said, Kim. But I know it had something to do with how the situation is set up. Because maybe they roommates. Maybe that's why they live together. You know what I'm saying? Not that he just live there and he don't do shit. And I mean, even if it's men out there that live with their folks and don't do shit, I can't speak on that. Because I don't even know what that look like. Because that's not something that I would ever do. So I can't not speak on a man living in a house with his folks and not doing shit. And his folks allowing him not to do shit. I can't speak on that. I can never be able to speak on that, because that's not my lifestyle. I've never been like that. I've never been one to just sit in the house and do this. Man, I ain't doing shit today. That ain't how I'm set up. Even when I got laid off on my most recent job before COVID, and they gave us 6 months severance pay, I ain't sit at home and just, you know. Now don't get me wrong. I think for the first couple of weeks I did. It was like I was on vacation. I could wake up when I wanted to. I could do what I want. and them checks were still coming. But after a while, I was like, man, fuck that. I'm about to get back to work. Why? Because I got this severance money coming in, and now I can get another job. So now this severance money, I got options with this. Either I can save it, or either I can take it and put it on bills, or I can invest it. I mean, it was different things that I could do, but I'm never just gonna sit on my ass though. But it was funny to me how I was at Jasper's and I was talking to this young lady, and she specifically said that she was not ever gonna fuck with a man that lived at home with his folks. But then after our night, kind of ended at the bar, she was willing to exchange numbers with me. And I was just like, well, I don't think you should do that, because my living situation is the situation that you just said that you wouldn't want to do. But she just was like, well, no, but after listening to you and after talking to you, I can tell you're not a lazy man, and I would be willing to get at a chance. I'm like, but you shouldn't do that, because, I could be lying. I could be all talk. I could be on some bullshit. And I'm just saying that you already got a set in your mind or preference that you don't want to deal with. Why do it? So I just thought that it would be a good conversation. And as y'all can see, it's definitely a conversation starter, because there's a lot of people talking. And, I say again, everybody's situation is different. Everybody have their reasons why they got to go back. It was even a couple people on here that said that, that they went to college and had to come back home, and then they stepped out and may have to come back again. I mean, sometimes it's life. Shit happens. You know what I'm saying? But again, if, I see other ethnicities, Spanish people, Latinos, these Vietnamese people that was doing it, they do it all the time, and it works. And everybody break bread, and everybody got bread to do whatever they need to do, and they do it. And I remember one family, I was working in Langley Park. I was working in Langley Park, and there was a young man, I can't think of his name, but his family was from Honduras. From Ecuador. And they was doing the same thing. But I remember him and his wife bought a house. And then some of the people who lived in the house where he grew up or where they were living came and moved with him and his wife. And all of them shared the bills and the money. And I was just like, but that's what's up, because this nigga ain't paying no motherfucking money. Versus you having a house and it's just you and your wife, and both of y'all struggling, and the motherfucking mortgage, is $1,300. If you got 2 cars and you paying a car note, let's say both car notes combined is $1,000. Then you got car insurance. Then you got health insurance. Come on, man. But in these houses, these motherfuckers ain't paying nothing. Why? Because they all breaking bread and pitching in together. I'm like, what's wrong with that? But if a black man do that, or black women look at him like, oh, he probably on some bullshit. He living at home with his parents. It's like, come on, man. So, I mean, I thought it was a great conversation starter. It started a conversation. I appreciate y'all for, just still, chiming in the group, man. And like I say, I'm going to continue to try to, have these conversations that I think, aren't as easy to have, but we need to have them. And so, again, piggybacking off my man King from earlier, I put in the group that I am doing a collaboration with Great Clothing Line. We're going to do a product. It's going to be a hoodie. It will be gray. My logo, Real Talk with the 6thman, will be on the front, and Great will be on the back. I'm going to give y'all some more details in the next coming days for all of the pre-order stuff. I can tell you that, I'm working on a lot of stuff, y'all, and I just hope that y'all allow myself and my team 2021 to be a great year. You know what I'm saying? We think gradually, by the summertime, this corona thing might have a handle on its own, and we may be able to go and, either do something in the States or be allowed to go out the country and do something. I got a band set up already that I got in mind, that if I want to do something, they gonna be the band that I want to deal with, because they ain't gonna be doing no raunchy, just gonna be grown and sexy. I got a DJ that y'all already know, DJ Mike L, in the group. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna collaborate with him so we can do something. So I got some stuff that I'm working on. I just want y'all to continue to support and just continue to be patient with me. But again, New product coming out real soon. Pre-orders will be this week. I will give you more details about it in the coming days. But again, don't stop this conversation. Let this conversation continue, because it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I'm just saying that it needs to be had because I want us to get to a place where, you know, it's okay to need your family. It's okay to get a lending hand. It's okay to, you know, for somebody to extend an olive branch to you to help you. I know one thing for myself. Pride is a motherfucker, and it will kill you faster than a heart attack. I'm telling y'all some real shit, especially for a black man. Especially for a black man. But people in general, but especially for a black man, pride will cripple you. It will cripple you. People will walk away from you because your pride will make you sound selfish, stupid, and uneducated. And I don't want any of my brothers out here to be any of those things. But I know that pride in our community is one of those things that will fucking cripple us. And I thought that this conversation would run along the lines of pride, because I feel like no matter what we do, somebody helped us get there, whether it was our parents, whether it was somebody in our family, whether it was a co-worker, whether it was a supervisor, whoever, somebody helped us get where we are today. If we are in a good place, if we got a good career, if we got, and I mean, I'm not saying that I'm taking away any of the person's effort that allowed them to get there, but somebody helped you get to where you are. Somebody did a good evaluation on you so you can get a promotion. Somebody recognized your work and went to somebody and said, man, we need to promote him, or we need to add to his title, or we need to give him some money. Somebody helped you get there, whoever it may be. And that's why I say that, you know, when I hear this conversation about, you know, women living at home and it's okay, but it's a double standard because if men do it, it's an issue. I'm like, why is that? Why is it that it's an issue if a black man live at home with his family, but if the female do it, it ain't no problem? But at the end of the day, I just feel like we all got to help each other regardless. I mean, whether it's in business, whether it's in personal dealings, we got to help each other. You know what I'm saying? Regardless. Like, I mean, you know, it's people out there now that I know of right now trying to start their own business. And I'm not saying that I'm super business minded, but shit, my man Javon came by here last night and we had a conversation, and he was talking about starting an LLC, and he asked me how I went about it and how did I file and, you know, different things. And, you know, we talked about investments and different investments that we both kind of invest in. And I gave him some, you know, stocks that he can look at that he might want to. I mean, I'm just saying, it's each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? If you the smartest motherfucker in the room, it's a problem. You can't always be the smartest person in the room. And you can't be always the person that, you know, always got it together. All of us, even though we seem like we got it all together, the people that drive the Mercedes Benz and the people that got the big house, them the motherfuckers that got the most problems. Them the motherfuckers that got the biggest issues. I'm trying to tell y'all some real shit. I'm telling you, man, you do not know the type of sacrifice that some of these people gotta endure to be as successful as they are. I mean, I'm noticing it for myself. My brother can tell you. My brother even sat down one day and was like, man, you know, I've been working for Metro so much trying to get this money. I've missed, you know, different events for, you know, family members and all that type shit. And now he realizing that, man, you know, I want to be able to be there for some of these events. I want to be able to be there, you know, to do some of the things that I want to do to be successful and be happy. Like, it's okay to be successful, but you got to have balance. You got to be happy. You got to be able to enjoy the money that you make. So it's just a lot of shit that plays out in our community that I see doesn't really necessarily play out the way it plays out in our community and other communities. And I thought this topic was one of the ones that plays out a little differently for black men in general. And it just seems like, again, the double standard has been created in our society. And when I say our society, I mean our black society. That black men, it's an issue, a concern, or a problem if a black man is living with his family. But if a black woman does it, it's all right. Why is that? And that's the conversation. So I appreciate y'all for coming through. Again, new product coming out real soon. Pre-orders will be this week. We will start pre-orders this week. I think that when I talked to the manufacturer, he said turnaround time for the product might be 2 to 3 weeks, depending on, when we get everything set up. But, it's going to be more product coming. Y'all just got to bear with me. And again, like I said, I'm working on some other things as well. Me and my team, we want to do some collaborations on Clubhouse, to start like somewhat of a morning show on Clubhouse, so we can kind of be everywhere. We want to be on Facebook, we want to be on IG, we want to be on YouTube, we want to be, I just kind of want to be all the way across the board, so that way we still, giving everybody the same message, but doing it on different outlets. So I appreciate y'all for coming by with just a quick talk, nothing serious. I see there's a lot of comments going on between Sherry, and I see Don, and I see Boots, and I see a few other people chiming in. So like I always tell y'all, man, I appreciate y'all for coming through. It's a new year. We are observing Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday today. I did get some troubling information in regards to the inauguration. It is supposed to be some shit jumping off, but I'm not gonna really concern myself with that, because I'm gonna be right in the house, so it don't even matter. So y'all be safe, continue to be positive, uplift each other, be safe, and also be better than you were yesterday, man. 6th man, y'all be easy.